Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of the BeamNG modding tutorial series. And in today's episode we're going to have a look at Torsionbars and TorsionHydros. But before I show you what those are in game, I need to show you what torsion itself is. So let's head down to the basement. In mechanics, torsion is the twisting of an object due to an applied torque. In this example you can see how I apply torque to this long piece of wood and it twists. That is torsion. A torsion bar is a bar that is specifically made to resist torsion more or less predictably. In BeamNG, a torsion bar is made up of 4 nodes. Nodes 2 and 3 make up the bar itself, and nodes 1 and 4 act as the levers at each end of the bar. The levers are there for BeamNG to actually calculate the angle of torsion on the bar, because just nodes themselves don't have any rotation. They should be at a right angle to the bar, or at least as close to a right angle as possible for the most accurate and stable results. So in the Jbeam we have a separate section for torsion bars. The header is pretty simple, just like Beam's, but with 2 more node IDs. So that's ID 3 and ID 4. The typical arguments are spring, damp, deform, and strength. So just like Beam's, but without the beam prefix. The relevant units here are Newton meters for torque and radians for angle. For example, spring is Newton meters per radian, damp is Newton meters seconds per radian, and deform and strength are just Newton meters. What's also a little different is pre-compression. Here for torsion bars it's called pre-compression angle, and that is also in radians, but we're not going to use that for this example. If you can make the torsion bar anisotropic, which means that it uses different spring and damp values depending on which direction the bar twists. To do that, you just have to add the spring 2 and damp 2 arguments. And now the torsion bar will use either the spring and damp or the spring 2 and damp 2 values depending on which way it's twisting. So now we're actually going to make the torsion bar. We're just going to use these nodes that I have up here. So now one important thing that we'll notice, if we go in here, you can see this is the setup on the ground here. If we go ahead and reload, first of all they appear under, there you go, and we go into Beam debug view, is that we cannot see the torsion bar. If you think about it, it makes sense because the torsion bar isn't a beam. But that's exactly what I'm trying to point out here. The torsion bar will not connect your nodes together with beams. It's important that you do that yourself, so that this doesn't happen. I don't know where it went. Usually they're connected first the bar, and then the levers to the bar, and they usually also go across to the other side to keep the levers from changing their angle towards the bar, because it should stay at that 90-degree angle, or at least stay the same angle as it spawned in. Also, if any of the beams connecting the torsion bar nodes together breaks, so does the torsion bar itself. So let's go back in here, let's get that back up there. And let's try that again. Let's see. That now, because it's resisting that twisting motion, and what you can also see is that in one direction, to the left, there's more, or it's less stiff than to the right. So to the right we have our higher spring 2 value, and to the left we have our lower spring value. I don't know if you can see it that well, but I can definitely tell that that's what's happening. The most common use cases for torsion bars include rigidifying flat structures, anti-roll bars and suspensions, and anything where you want to stop stuff from twisting, or at least control how much it twists. Let me show you the roll bar here on the Civic, the Corvette. Yeah, I haven't played this game in quite a bit, so whatever. That right there is the sway bar, and these 4 nodes make up the torsion bar, and then the ends of the torsion bar here is connected to the suspension via those links. By the way, if you don't know, an anti-roll bar is there to reduce body roll of the vehicle when cornering. So basically when this left suspension compresses and on the other side goes up, this lever of the torsion bar will go up, on the other side it will go down, and because the torsion bar resists torsion, it will resist that movement, and therefore it resists the body roll of the vehicle. Now if we want to control the torsion ourselves instead, we can use TorsionHydros. TorsionHydros are like hydros, just that they twist instead of linear expansion or contraction. So we're gonna just replace this torsion bar with our TorsionHydros, and the TorsionHydros section is almost identical to regular hydros, just with the difference that we have 4 nodes again, and some of the arguments are different too. We have our spring, damp, deform, and strength values here too. The rest of the arguments themselves are mostly the same, but they have different units again. The factor, the in limit and out limit are all in radians. The in and out rate and auto center rate are in radians per second. As an input, I'm just going to use the steering input. There you go. So if we go back into the game, we can first of all reload, and there we go. You can't see much yet, but if we steer in one direction, it lifts up, and then if we steer in the other direction, it moves the other way. You can see the steering input down here, and I think it would be even better if I move this up. Somewhere around here maybe. And now that one node is more or less fixed, one arm is fixed, you can see the other one moving pretty slowly. Also, this angle right here is supposed to be 1 radian because that's the factor that I set here. And 1 radian is about 57 degrees, which this sort of looks like. Also, it's pretty slow. I mean, what's our in rate and out rate is both 0.5, so it should take 4 seconds to go the entire way, which I guess is what's happening here. So yeah, that was the quick rundown on Torsion beams and TorsionHydros. If you liked the video, like, dislike if you didn't, and I see you guys again in the next episode.